Everyone, and welcome back to this lesson. So the last lesson we were able to see how a JavaScript generator function looks like, and how it works, how you can return values from the generator, and how you can add execution, how you can pause and resume execution, which makes it a powerful function, especially with the way it handles the properties of an iterator, the values, and the done. So I hope that with that examples, we had a clear understanding of how a JavaScript generator, how it works in JavaScript, and nothing stop us from, making different examples, probably by increasing the values, or, do something totally different in order to internalize the concept of what it is deeply. So moving on from that, we're going to be looking at the generator object method in this lesson. Now, a generator object conforms to the iterable and iterator protocols. It can be iterated over with 4 off loops. So, a generator object like it has been said when we started talking about JavaScript generator, that it conforms to the iterable and iterator protocol. So what makes this JavaScript generator object, what makes it fit for iteration is because of the fact that it also conforms to the iterable and iterator protocol. So if you have not been following along, you can check the previous video on iterables and iterator protocol, so you understand it in clearer details. And also it has methods, and if you look at my screen, you can see method and description. Now it has this method that can be used with it. The number 1 method is next. The next is used to resume the next execution of the generator function. So like it has been said that JavaScript generator can allows for pause and play of a function component. So basically what that is saying is that, when you have let me just give a real life scenario. So a movie theater, let's say you go to a cinema to watch a movie. I mean, under normal circumstances, once the movie has started playing, it will play until the end. But when you're in your house and you are using something like maybe a DVD or something, your DVD has a pause and play. Now, that exactly is how JavaScript generator functions work. Now, so the movie theater can be likened to the traditional function. So once the traditional functions will execute to the head once it starts. But as for generator functions, they can be paused. So that is what makes them more like a DVD mode of execution I just used as an illustration now. So the next method is used to resume the next execution of the generator function. Then it also has a return method which finishes this execution and returns a given value. So more or less like where, okay, my function has gotten to an end, let it now give me a value. Then it has throw method which throws an exception in this execution. Probably maybe it runs into an error, or it could not, process your instruction or request. Then it can use that to throw an exception in your code. Now, the first one we're going to be talking about is the next method. Now, when the next method is called on the generator object, it resumes execution of the generator function. So when you use the next method on a generator object, it will resume execution of the generator function, and it returns an object with an value and a boolean indicating if the generator has finished. Now, remember that in the example from the previous lesson, each example has value and done, 2 properties that make it conforms to the iterable and iterator protocol. So it returns an object. The next method returns an object with value and a boolean and indicates if the generator has finished. So if the generator has finished simply means if the function has finished. So what it will return is always value and the done property. So as long as the done is equating, as long as the done is first, it will keep, processing that function and keep getting the required values from your generator function. But once the for loop is done, once it's done and done as is set to true, then it will stop the iteration. So any place or any part of your code where the for of loop, which can be used with generator object, encounter done to be set to true, then it will stop execution and pick only the values that it has encountered before where it encountered that done that is set to true. And also we have custom iterators. Generators simplify the creation of custom iterators for complex data structure or sequences. Remember, we've talked about this when I talked about the definition of the JavaScript generators in the last lesson, because generators can efficiently generate values on demand. Look at that example. It generated one, then with the yield keyword, it moves to the next one, and so on. So if you have multiple values, that is what it will continue to, go one after the other. And this is what makes them suitable for potentially infinite data streams, maybe a large data, streams that needs to be read line by line. And then they can also pause and resume function. That is what makes it, a powerful function, because it has the ability to pause and resume execution. And that can be useful for controlling your program flow. So, the way we use what is it called, conditionals, yes, to control programs. So this can also be used for program control, in the sense that your functions can be paused and then it's resume and pause and resume, something like that. And then before the introduction of async await, generator were used with promises to manage asynchronous operations. So before we have async and wait in JavaScript, so this was the default that was being used for managing asynchronous operation in a more sequentially looking manner. So the JavaScript generator brings iteration concept directly into the core JavaScript language, and then it provides a mechanism for customizing the behavior of for of loop. You can see that in the example, that the for of loop has to respect the way the execution flow should go, and then when it ended the execution, after it read the values, then it terminated the execution, and that execution did not come from before of loop or for of loop. It came from the JavaScript generator itself, because that condition has already been set in the body of the function. So you can see what makes a JavaScript generator powerful. Thank you, and in the next video we'll continue.